Oh my lord, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another EU Made Simple live stream. I hope you enjoyed that anthem as much as me and Lambertus did. Lambertus, what are we doing today?
Well, I mean, what else can we do, right? It is the EU elections. My God, the US elections last night, and I honestly didn't think we'd be sitting here talking about the results and that they're finished. We have a winner. I thought we'd have a winner in 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. That we would be waiting here for a while, and we would be speculating tonight. And or fortunately, in our case, I guess we could talk about actual results today, even though some might not like them.
Yeah. So, Elliot, what happened is I got up at 4 a.m. this morning, had a whole video prepared for a Kamala Harris and Trump, literally, neck on neck, saying, "Oh, where could the states go?" Literally, open my computer. I'm like, "Oh shit, I have to restart." That's what happened.
And Lambertus, you know that I love you dearly, okay? But you look tired as well, okay?
Yeah. I am.
You look a little tired.
I am tired. I don't know how it is with the people in the chat, but I was one of those people. I couldn't sleep. I just had to watch the elections until like 1 or 2 a.m. and then I slept for like 2-3 hours. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I watched till about 1, and then, or I watched till 12:30. Went to bed and then took out my phone anyways to look at the elections instead, and till about 1, and I was like, I gotta sleep, I'll see tomorrow morning. And then I woke up at 7, looked at my phone, I saw that Trump won, and I was like, I'm gonna go back to bed, but I couldn't go back to bed anymore. It's like, I have to think about this now. What happened?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, let me get into it, right? I mean, here we see the map, okay, Elliot, and I honestly thought, I don't know, maybe before we even look at the results, I honestly thought Kamala was going to take it. I don't know. I thought the female vote would come out. I thought the high turnout would be good for Kamala. I thought the swing states were looking in her favor. Iowa, for example, I really thought she'd take it, but I was so wrong. I mean, what about you?
I mean, yeah, you were wrong, but if it's any reconciliation, you weren't the only one that was very wrong. I guess we spoke about it a little bit, but all the pollsters that are being paid to do their job were rather wrong. I just want to say, just flat out wrong. I mean, everyone got a little bit. If you're a Kamala supporter, Kamala, I think we should say it properly, Kamala supporter, you would be very excited, especially about the news with the recent polling about winning in key swing states, but that didn't end up coming true. So
yeah, especially this one. Where is it? Iowa. God, now here, Iowa. So there was a poll on the weekend that showed Kamala literally winning Iowa. So when I heard that, I was like, dude, Iowa, that's like the most reddest state there is. And if Kamala is leading in a poll there, it looks very good for her. And then look at it. Trump smashed her.
So I really wonder, like, where did this come from? Wishful thinking, or was this more faults in the polling itself? I really don't know where this came from. Where there was like even talks of Texas becoming a swing state, or at least swing state territory, and nothing really worked.
Let's look at Texas. Trump took about 1.6 or 1.5 million votes. I mean, it wasn't even close. Let's be honest, the whole election wasn't close.
No, it wasn't close at all. No. Both popular votes and the Electoral College is decisively in Trump's favor. So, New Jersey, I think NJ is.
NJ, New Jersey. Where's New Jersey? Here we go, New Jersey. Yeah.
51%. Yeah. Jeez. It's also still pretty close.
Yeah. But Elliot, let's get into the crux of them. Sorry, let's get into the crux of the matter. If you had to give 2-3 reasons why Harris lost, what do you think were the key reasons?
That's a very difficult question. The Twitter argument, let's say the more social media argument is that people believe that she is somewhat of a DEY pick. She didn't respect, or she didn't get elected for anything, was one of the main talking
no
points.
Policies, you mean, right?
No, like more in the sense that the main criticism was she didn't go through the regular process of her going through the Democratic God, I forgot the name for this. where yeah, exactly. Thank you. Where they go through the regular process and she gets chosen. No, the criticism was she was pushed forward. So that was probably most of the criticism coming from the Trump side. So I don't know how much actually that affected her vote. However, I think we saw in the results that most of her the Latino base and lots of black male voters, they did end up going for, this is probably a good, like most of them, like you would expect a way larger come out for the Democrats, but that didn't happen at all. And I feel like a big part was that the so-called flyover states were pretty much left ignored, right? Where like the swing states were focused a lot, but that didn't. In the end, it didn't matter for her.
I mean, like these are really good stats. I mean, maybe let's first look at these before looking at the swing states, because basically for people watching, this is the exit polls on like what people voted for. I mean, more or less.
Yeah.
And here you can see. I mean, white people, 43% for Harris, 55% Trump. I mean, that kind of expected, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then black, 86% Harris and 12% Trump. So that's pretty good for her. Where did she lose? I mean, she lost. The white.
The Asian and Hispanic, the Asian and Hispanic vote is the one where she was expected to do way better than she did, and that's a very large part of why she did end up
she
doing
only
so
got
poorly.
53% here, right? Yeah. That's probably a problem.
It's supposed to be way bigger. I forgot the stat. Let me see if I can look this up real quick, because.
You know what I think is hilarious? I mean, it's only 1%, but she didn't do well with the American Indians. Only 35%.
Also,
doesn't she have like an Indian heritage? No, she doesn't. Sorry, not American Indian. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah.
What do you mean? What she has either her father, like one part of her family is.
But is it American Indian or is it
or just Indian?
Indian. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
In any case, we have a great super chat for, if you might have missed it, by Politics for Fun. He donated €2, saying, "Snap elections in Ireland. What's your opinion?"
I mean, go ahead, PLA.
Yeah. This is a American live stream right now. We're discussing the but in any case, I have no idea what's going on in Ireland, so I didn't even know there were snap elections coming. So that's very good for informing me.
That's very, very hot news. Thanks, Politics for Fun. But we are most likely do a video on it. So subscribe if you like it. But for now, we're going to focus on the US. So if anyone in the chat has questions on the actual US, tag us. And if you really want it answered, then definitely use a super chat. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Maybe let's look on the list again a bit further.
Yeah.
Is there anything else interesting?
I think Trump did pretty well, more expectedly so, with young people as well, where the normal trend is that young people would vote Democrat. A lot of them did vote from 18 to 29. A lot of them voted almost equally so in for Republicans.
You see, this is what I don't get, right? I mean, look at this. The women, what I have thought in this election is that this whole issue with abortion, right, which is a massive thing, topic, obviously, because the Republicans are being very aggressive in legislating abortion. And I thought the woman vote, I mean, yes, young women, they voted for Kamala. But here, look at that, 45 plus, only 50% of them went to Kamala. That's crazy.
It's still, there's still a large holdout for Republican women. I guess these would mostly come from the red states, but yeah, the issue of abortion is a lot more, let's say, less clear for them than for younger women. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, I'm going to keep on scrolling down. Let me have a look here. So where did Trump dominate? Okay, obviously Republicans.
What was that? Was that without college degrees? White non-college graduates.
Yeah. White men, right? White men.
White
non-college.
Men. Non-college. Yeah.
I think a big part of it is the anti-woke culture, right? So lots of young men not liking the wokeness in the world.
Woke virus. That's a very big thing. I mean, I think this kind of speaks to a very large trend in general in American politics, maybe even Western politics as a large, where it's all very vibes based. Let's just say that what doesn't feel good is going to make you vote. To hell with anything on paper. What doesn't feel good is is going to be leading. And I think, and I'm a little bit biased here, I think that really showed during this election.
Yeah. I mean, I read, okay, this is another interesting stat, right? That apparently one of the big reasons some people voted, I mean, which makes sense, is democracy, right? Trying to defend democracy. That was a big reason. But apparently, you know, and if I hear that, I think, oh, that's probably good for the Kamala Harris vote. But apparently, a lot of those people that voted for democracy also voted for Trump because they had the impression that Kamala and the Democrats were bad for democracy, which I think was... I mean, maybe I've lived too much in a bubble, but to me, it was only really Trump that denied, like properly denied an election, like he did like a couple of years ago.
When I saw those stats, I was thinking the same thing. Where well, obviously it can go both ways. You can interpret it both ways, but in general, you would say that is most likely favorable for Kamala Harris. So this was like these stats came out at what was it, like 11 CET in the evening yesterday, or like at 12. So I saw that, I was like, okay, it's looking a little Democrat-y, but yeah, that didn't end up coming to fruition.
Jeez, man. Yeah.
I see a lot of comments as well. By the way.
I see. Do you have any? Let's go to the chat. Is there a good question from the chat, Elliot?
Well, we have Politics for Fun following up his question with saying, what should be EU's next step after Trump's win? I think we can get into that in a little bit, because we uploaded a great video. Obviously, go watch it if you haven't yet, about the 6 main effects on the EU with the Trump victory. What else we have? We have Johan Sjöstedt, if I pronounce that correctly. What's next with Ukraine? And I think that's a very big topic as well. Is there a chance that Trump will leave negotiations with Putin? So I think that all goes into the topic, what's going to happen to, let's say, Europe. So if you want to shelve that for now, maybe we can talk about that a little later, or you can tackle them now as well if you feel like it.
Yeah, maybe we talk a little bit more about the actual election, and then we definitely go to the whole effect on the EU, because there is 6 big points, 6 massive points that will change in the EU, or what I think that will change in the EU. So we'll definitely look at those, but I don't think we're quite done looking at the results.
Not yet. Okay, so forever. Oh, we just got another super chat by Billy Oldman. They ask, is there a recorded trend of American politics shifting European politics? That's a very good question, actually.
I love this question. I think it's a very good question, and I've been thinking to do a video about this, actually, because I have looked at populist parties and things like, you know, populist parties, right-wing populist nationalism, that kind of thing, before Trump took power in 2016. So I really looked at the amount of seats in the European Parliament, the amount of governments in Europe that had, you know, populists part of the government. And there is definitely a correlation of fewer, at least the 10 years before Trump got power, of those types of parties and politicians in power than there were after Trump got elected for his first term. Whether that's an actual correlation to Trump, I mean, that remains the question, right? I'm not sure. But what do you think? Do you think there is a correlation?
Without looking further into this topic, I can't say. I would want to say it probably doesn't help, or help in the sense that if a leader, a populist leader, a very popular leader is elected in one country, the population of another Western country might say, hey, it's going pretty well, or that guy is elected, so let's try to do the same in our country. I think that you could probably make that argument, definitely. But
I think so, yeah.
But
didn't Wilders? Sorry to interrupt you, Elliot. Didn't Wilders in Netherlands? So Wilders is pretty much won the last parliament election in the Netherlands, and he's also like quite far right populist. But wasn't one of his slogans like Netherlands first, right? Nederland op nummer 1 in Dutch, I think, wasn't it?
Something like that. I mean, I feel like it all kind of blends together, all this rhetoric of putting your own country first. That is I think a very generic slogan for most of these type of parties. But to finish my answer, I think there's a very possible chance that what you're saying is correct. On the other hand, maybe it is a bit more coping, or a hoping in that sense, is that some are like really calling now for, well, you know, the United States is choosing their own path, so to say, and when are we as Europe are going to stand on our own 2 feet? When are we going to decide to not be dependent on who sits in the American White House for our own policies, right? I think that's a very, very interesting question. Is even though you could argue that we've had this wake-up call in 2016, maybe even in 2022 with the invasion of Ukraine, and now again. So you kind of start wondering how many wake-up calls does Europe need in order to stand on its own 2 feet. But yeah. What are your thoughts?
Like Fritz just said in the comments, make Europe great again, right?
Yeah, make Europe great again.
Or make Europe great, because I don't think a proper European identity has never really been. I mean, that's prevalent in the EU, I think. But
maybe not an identity, but
I want to maybe just pick out another comment, because Villa here, I mean, I always pick on him. Why? Because he's a commissioner on Patreon, so we love asking those questions here. So thank you, Villa, for being a patron. So he said, to me, it's shocking how well Trump did in popular vote. First time a Republican wins popular vote in 20 years. And the best Republican result in New York since 1988. Let's actually go back to the map and see what he means.
There are some historic results in this election that just breaking records, really. It should really come to a slap in the face to any Democrat leader out there. They should really start changing their stuff up.
Okay, this is really embarrassing. Where's New York? Where is it? Somewhere here, right? No,
it's the big NY at the top of the screen.
Oh shit, that's really embarrassing. My bad. Okay. Anyway, so 700,000 here for Donald Trump. No, that
So that's still great. Great for him.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, I really would like to pick on this. The popular vote. I mean, 2016. Hillary smashed Trump in the popular vote. 2020, Biden smashed Trump in the popular vote. And now, for the third time, Trump's got 5 million more popular votes. I mean, and the crazy thing is, the popular media in like CNN, CBS, I think, is one of them in the States. They all mention Trump has like a 48% roof. You can't get higher than that, because it's the max he can get. Well, they were wrong.
I haven't heard of the roof yet. I didn't hear that before, or read that before, at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they mentioned. Like in the popular vote, when it comes to that, 48% is like their roof.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'm talking shit, but that's what I remember hearing on one of those.
No. It could very well be. I mean, there was quite a sizable portion of undecided voters, even up until going up to the ballot yesterday, that probably just went for Trump. And why they went for Trump, I think that's going to be showing quite soon in all of the research and all of the stats that are going to follow out of this election. But the rhetoric has been very, very effective, I guess, in State of the Economy, because that was one of the largest, I think the second largest of the key issues people voted on, right? Like 33% State of Democracy, 31% economy, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeez. And immigration? Do you know what was immigration?
Immigration was either 13 or 11%, so it was a lot
really
lower.
Low.
It was a lot lower than expected. Below abortion. 16, I think.
16. That's still lower than I expected, to be honest.
Yeah. Democracy and economy. Well, I mean, isn't that the age-old saying of "it's the economy, stupid," that keeps being repeated?
Yeah. I mean, crazy. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, another thing, maybe, Elliot, before we get into like what it means for the EU, like let's have a look at the battle states, right? The battleground states.
Sure.
Because, at the start of the night, Georgia, okay, maybe for people that don't know, very, very quickly, Georgia, South Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona. Those are the battle, and Pennsylvania, my God, the big one right here.
Yeah, the biggest upset.
Yeah. 7 states, 7 battleground states, and so far 5 out of the 7, and the other 2 will likely also be called, went to Trump. Did that surprise you, or what do you think about that? I mean, that's quite remarkable, isn't it?
To me, it was definitely surprising. I mean, I'll be honest, this is like the first real U.S. elections that I'm thoroughly following, because otherwise I couldn't just be, to be frankly, couldn't be bothered. But right now, when I was looking at those, and especially around the reporting around it and the polls, I mean, it was always going to be close, but this big of an upset, I didn't expect it at all, and I don't think many people expected it either. Yeah.
Do you think?
Difficult to explain why.
Do you think there's a? I mean, if we go back to the reasons why, do you think it's because Harris had a bad campaign? And the second question is, do you think Biden would have done better?
I mean, when the discussion was there of if Biden should drop out, yes or no, a few months ago, I was one of the people that were saying that I think it might be more beneficial for Biden to stay in because, the incumbent is always expected to run, right? It is almost unprecedented that the incumbent gives up in favor of a new candidate.
I heard he's super pissed, by the way. I heard he's really pissed.
I can imagine. Yeah.
He's probably sitting there watching with his wife. It's like, these damn Democrats took it from me.
Yeah. No, but like, in all honesty, would he have done better? We will never know, I guess, but I don't think he necessarily would have. I mean, when Harris came as the new candidate, there was a certain wave of enthusiasm, a wave of positivity, of like more youthfulness and a lot more, let's say, trust. And I feel like that was the only way the Democrats could have won. And if Joe Biden would have stayed there in the same old, I don't even know in what state I am currently, then I don't think they would have squeezed it out anyways, right?
Yeah. No, I think so too. I think Biden was toast. I watched that debate. You watched it probably too, right? Against Trump.
Yeah.
And I almost I almost felt like after that debate, it was so certain that he would replace. At least I thought so. And I almost felt like Trump was upset that he lost that badly because he's like, oh, damn, he's so easy to beat. Why did I take him down like that?
Yeah. But this is the thing as well with these debates is it's always the question of how much do they really matter? Because honestly, when as an outsider looking at the Harris-Trump debate, I felt the same embarrassment that I felt for Biden for Trump at that moment. It's like, what is this guy still doing here? I mean, talking about eating the cats and the dogs. I mean, like, come on. And we should also probably address another great super chat in the chat. Go ahead, this one's yours.
Look at that. Oh, this is mine. Okay, so Jakub, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. He's from the Czech Republic, I see. The biggest change is seen at the county level, yes.
Yep.
Anything outside the cities has always gone to Republicans. The US faces bigger problems than Trump. So maybe let's take an example, right? Let's take one of the battlegrounds. Which one do you want? Pennsylvania. That's
I take Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So as Jakub says, as you can see, the cities, they're still blue though. I mean, I can't click how much they are. But and the country is red, which is completely true. So Jakub, maybe to clarify your question, what do you mean? You're saying that the cities are changing, but the cities are also becoming Republican? Because that might be true proportionally, but so far the cities are being won by Democrats. Let's have another look.
I think in general the cities are, this has been a fact as all this time, but maybe in a few cities that it wasn't the case. I haven't gone down to the county level, if I'm honest with you. So but so far it still looks true that.
But this is the thing, right? And this is what kind of annoys me too. I remember 2 days ago, or was it 3 days ago? It doesn't matter. But Kamala Harris was having like a rally, and there were all these stars there. I think not Beyonce, but anyway, some stars, and like making a massive show out of it. And I'm thinking, okay, that's cool for the people that can attend the rally from like the cities or wherever she's doing them. But if you're like in the countryside and then you're seeing the money being spent on these crazy rallies with all, I mean, Trump's doing the same, I guess, but still, I'd be like, it's so obnoxious almost, right? So elitist, no? I mean, I don't know.
I don't think so. No, I think I disagree with that, because this showmanship, these celebrities, all of this is just like, I would almost say integral, like nature to American politics, and especially American elections, is of these grand showings, these big stages, always filled with people, getting these endorsements out of everyone. I think this is a tale as old as the American elections themselves. So I don't think this is necessarily the problem. I want to ask you though, and maybe this is the unspoken elephant in the room,
right?
How much? Okay, I just got to be a bit provocative here. How much of this loss has to do with Harris being a woman?
Oh, big question. Okay, so the crazy thing is, I think if I'm not wrong, and chat, please correct me, she did worse than what's her name? Hillary Clinton, right?
Yeah, I think
So
so.
yeah, I think she did. So in that sense, I don't know. I mean, oh god, this is a very difficult question. so I don't think she. Okay, put it this way. Firstly, I don't think she was the best candidate. I think she was better than Biden, but I think the Democrats would have done better if they identified earlier that Biden wasn't the right candidate and just went through a typical primary.
Yeah,
let the best battle against each other. We have Shapiro, who's a very strong candidate, and then in California you have Newsom. He's a very strong candidate. You have another one
though. Like,
sorry,
is it Newsom like very controversial?
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't go Newsom either. I wouldn't even go for someone from California. California's Democrat anyway. I think Shapiro. What state is he again? I think he's from a red state somewhere in the Rust Belt. Maybe
I'm not sure. I could
okay.
say.
Anyway, but I'd rather go for one of not rather, but I'd rather go through a primary. Why? Yeah. 2 reasons. Firstly, these candidates get a lot of media attention, so everyone knows who they are. And secondly, is you normally get the right candidate to then position against the Republican candidate, right?
Kind of, but I mean, obviously, I don't have to explain to you the circumstances, the unusual circumstances that this election went through, right? I mean, like I said, the incumbent is supposed to run, and there was so little time to still, or at that point, decided, especially after that debate, that going through a regular primary would just waste a lot of time and leave very little time for campaigning.
Why did they wait until the debate? I mean, everyone. Okay, not everyone, but
not everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, there were definitely signs that it was not going well with Biden, but the general unspoken rules remain that the incumbent is supposed to run. And I mean, honestly, Biden didn't do that awful throughout his presidency. So it wasn't that unthinkable of him running. But when his I mean, I don't know if I can call it legally dementia, but his absent-mindedness was shown all on live television for everyone to see. Then you can't really go back at that point anymore.
Yeah, I see your point, but still, I don't know. I mean, it seemed a bit strategically. I think earlier would have done them a lot more favors.
Yeah, but it's very easy to say with hindsight, is it not?
Hey, I should be the Democrat strategist, strategist, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Oh, we have another. Jakub is on it.
Another
again.
Jakub. Yeah. Is this the same Jakub?
I think it is. Is it? Well, let me check.
Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jakub. I'm gonna try and pronounce Jakub's last name because I feel like we owe it to him. Jakub Chovanshaik. That's the best guess that you're gonna get. They say there is a huge problem in the US where the countryside is rapidly becoming poorer and less important, and by that I mean the whole countryside, except for the big cities. The US is rapidly becoming, except for the big cities, the US is becoming poorer. Okay.
Yeah, I think he makes a good point because so much. I mean, look at the Rust Belt, right? So if we look at here, is it here? Detroit, for example, that used to be like the manufacturing city for cars back in the day. I mean, I know, I think they definitely still produce, but it's nowhere near the scale from before. And just a lot of, and also around Detroit, right? It gives a lot of jobs to the countryside around it, and they can go and work there. And I mean, the countryside itself, yeah, that's probably poor too, I guess. But and it's also, so I'm going to continue on a rant now, but I think it's also the social system or the winner takes all system in the States, right? I mean, here we have a lot less inequality in Europe than in the States, and we're doing a lot more against inequality than the States too. I mean, what's your opinion, Elliot? That was just my.
The thing is that isn't this, I don't know, a trend always? Is that countryside is poor and cities are richer? Like, to me, this isn't a very big revelation.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's like Jonas said. Sorry to interrupt you. Jonas in the chat. The big companies are normally in the cities, especially with the new tech companies, right?
Those companies and those cities are the ones that are the producers of all the let's say the end of the supply chain, which adds the most value to the American economy, and those cities are making America so unbelievably rich as it is. Wasn't California like the fifth largest economy in the world? Just the state California, something crazy like that. Yeah. So
California is like the fifth or sixth richest country in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. If it were a country. So yeah. But in the case, are they getting? Is the divide getting bigger? I think so. But I would have to look into the numbers a bit more to be confident on that.
All right. Okay, so let's switch topic. Maybe one more question from the chat, and then let's go what this means for the EU. So
sure.
Let's have a look. Okay, is there any question? Let's scroll up a little bit here. Okay, I could scroll up quite a bit.
Pest says check the blue wall states.
Yeah, so I just did, I think. So here, Wisconsin, Michigan. So here, maybe very quickly, you can check this yourself, of course, too. But Wisconsin, geez, that's close. That is close, to be fair. So
okay,
Donald Trump just won it. Michigan also just won it, but geez, he won all of them. Ohio. Do you remember during the night at the start, Ohio looked likely to go to Kamala, and I was literally, when I went to sleep, I was like, "Ooh, this looking pretty good."
I didn't look at Ohio. I think I went to sleep at that point already.
But then she lost it. And Pennsylvania, that's the big one, right? Yeah.
No, literally, I woke up, I looked at the map, and I saw like Trump is like how many electoral votes away from winning. I was like, okay, this is fucked. I threw my phone and tried to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elliot. Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
So, I mean, all of these results are nice and dandy, but the real interesting question, of course, is what do they mean? And most importantly, what do they mean for us as humble Europeans? Because that is what I care about, is me, myself, and my fellow Europeans only. Who cares about the Americans?
You know what I hate, Elliot? Hate is a strong word, but I do actually hate it, is the dependency that we have to this country. I mean, look at us. We're having a live stream about another country that's not even like near to our own continent. Talking about the results because we're literally like, oh, what does it mean for us? That's how much dependency we have on the States, which I think, I mean, what do you think? I don't think that's the right way forward.
I think you put it very well in your in our last video, is that we as Europeans are almost dependent, or
so dependent.
We're dependent on the whims of a few thousand voters in some key swing states. That's just ridiculous. To me, it's ridiculous. So yeah.
How crazy is it? Like yesterday night, I'm thinking, oh, I really hope those 20,000 people in Pennsylvania will vote this way or that way. You know, how crazy is that? How crazy is that?
We have another super chat by HHHPPP donating $24.99 RON, and starting with an R, so I'm instantly thinking of something Romanian. I'm not sure which currency that is. So I apologize. But they ask, do you think that Trump will weaken or make the EU stronger? So that's probably a good way to kick off our discussion on this. Go ahead.
Oh, is it for me? Okay, so
for both of us.
God, so I think it's a difficult question. So I think in the short term, it will definitely not be in the EU's favor at all. I think it will be very, very difficult. Why? And I mean, there's 6 reasons I mentioned in the video. I'm just going to mention 2 very quickly. And that's firstly, defense. I think defense is a major issue, especially because of Trump's, skepticism towards NATO, and also, of course, Ukraine. And the second reason is economy. Why? Trump wants to put tariffs on every country importing or exporting, to the States.
On all goods.
Exactly.
20%.
Exactly. And who's the most powerful exporter in Europe? It's Germany. And Germany is also the richest country in Europe. And they're already in recession almost. Now they're going to be screwed by this. So, I mean, for me, the short term, I think no, it will definitely not make the EU stronger. Yeah. But Elliot, to you, what do you think? What about the long term? Long term.
It is. I saw a few articles pop up about this just a few days before the election as well. Is that there is a general theory, I'm going to call it, that this quote unquote shock to the EU system will force it once again in some way, somehow, to stand more on its own 2 feet. And I think that there is definitely a small part of that is true. That there's a core of truth to the argument saying that we can't be reliant on the United States, and we can't be sitting on the edge of our seat every 4 years hoping that there's going to be a candidate in the White House that is beneficial to us Europeans. I think that that you can make a good argument there. Now, the second question about that is, are we going to translate that fear or that shock into actual actions? That is the second question, and that is the place where we can start debating, because I'm not sure, and I'm leaning more towards maybe we aren't going to be the most successful in that regard. Yeah. What is your long-term view on this then? Oh, you're making a poll.
It's again, it's a very difficult question, but I mean, what the good thing, the EU, let me restart. Many of the countries in the EU see Trump as almost like an enemy, right? Like a threat. Not all of the countries, by the way. So that sometimes having a common enemy will resort into people banding together, right? Countries banding together to do something against it. However, foreign policy in the EU, as probably most people know, requires unanimity, right? What does it mean? It means that all the EU countries, if we want to have an EU response, need to all say yes, and I agree with that. And it's just not happening in the EU, because there's some countries, and I hate to always point it out, but Hungary, Orban, for example, he not loves is a strong word, but he was very happy with the Trump win. And he will not go with foreign policy decisions that the EU might make to try and counter Trump, for example, or to integrate further. So, for example, if integration is your cup of tea, there are certain countries and leaders that just don't want it. So long term, will the EU become stronger together because of Trump? I'm skeptical. I have to be honest. I kind of hope so, because I think it is a threat, but I think there's certain countries that will hold us back.
Okay, let me put it this way then. I think probably, but if it doesn't, then I'm pretty pessimistic about our future as Europeans. Then if something like this doesn't make us move, then honestly, I'm not sure what will in the end. Like, does it really need to be the case that, I don't know, in some hopefully unattainable future, that a Russia has to invade a European state, or like an EU state, I mean, not European geographically, or like what needs to happen for us as a group of countries to wake up and see, well, my GDP and population of Belgium is not going to be boxing up anytime soon against China or a United States, right? So in that case, I really hope that we take this lesson and say, okay, guys, I know we've had our multiple wake-up calls, so maybe it's time to do something. But
for me, the big one's defense. I just think I almost don't like the arrogance. I mean, arrogance might be the wrong word, but like literally the EU. I mean, I'm going to be very harsh. You might disagree with me here. We pay so many taxes, and we are so generous in all our social benefits. Everyone gets a safety net, which is fine. But then the arrogance of being like, oh, but the US will protect us, so let's just all not pay anything for our defense, and that we've done that for decades. It's just so blind, if you ask me. It's just so.
Okay, so the peace dividend is what we're talking about now. I mean, once again, I think a large part of this plays into being able to have some hindsight. But honestly, the thought of having a stable world order, a world order under the United States, was a very real thing, especially after the fall of the Soviet Union, when there's a so-called US hegemony. This is the real idea that many countries in the world had, is, okay, well, I mean, United States is our quote-unquote world police. We can spend all our money on nice things, and whatever happens, the United States, that's the big dog, we're going to listen to it. And now, let's say 20 years later, 25 years later, that is no longer happening. We are being brutally awakened by the fact that there are multiple countries in this world that don't necessarily agree with the way the United States is running the world. Running the world is very broadly put, but let's say their world order. And now we're like, well, damn, I guess we do need to pay a little bit more for our own security.
And this is what I mean. Like, it's a bit blind saying that almost. I mean, not you, but just generally. Oh, we don't agree with America being the world police, blah, blah, blah. And I get it, especially with Iraq and all that. That might have been a step too far. But in the end, we also have to recognize that we've benefited massively by just being under their defense umbrella.
Yeah. No. Listen, this is no shade at all, because honestly, it is I believe that it is a bad development for the entire world, is that we are now once again becoming factionalized. People are going into their own camps, and we're all spending a lot more on defense. Because in an ideal world, if you don't have to build tanks, you can, spend it on whatever, economy, education, kids starving, whatever. And that's a topic, I know. Obviously, will be an ideal world, and this probably will never happen. But if there is generally global peace and a general stability of under one, let's say, military superpower, there are definitely big benefits to that. And now everyone's forced to spend money on defense again. And not that I'm against it, because I as any person probably in this chat can see that we do need this security spending right now, because frankly we have to defend ourselves.
Yeah, we have to. And I do worry. I mean, if we go look at the effects on the EU, right? So we've mentioned NATO, right? NATO is a big issue. We've mentioned, I think the second one we should probably talk about a little bit is Ukraine. Trump clearly mentioned that he wants a deal as quickly as possible. And I emphasize deal, not a peace deal, because any deal that he will make will probably be Putin getting, this is my opinion, Putin getting what he wants. And Ukraine probably not in the best position or getting the best deal out of it. Probably have to giving up land, giving up NATO, things like that. Because without the US money, that's literally their money for next year will almost half. So big issue.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the biggest things that are going to be impacted, that we as Europeans are going to be impacted by, is the decision of Donald Trump to go either way. Well, we don't know. I mean, Joe Biden is still in office for a few months. 2.5, let's say, and then he's going to have to transfer his power over to Donald Trump. And at that point, he has promised us there will be a peace in 24 hours. Wasn't it something like that? 24 or 48 hours.
Day. Yeah,
the first day. So I'm very curious to see how that is going to be what is that going to be entailing. I wanted to highlight a comment real quick from the live chat.
Sure.
There was a user, Sailor Mercury, says the world felt more peaceful during Trump's first term. No Russia, Ukraine, or Israel, Palestine nonsense. And I feel like this is I wanted to highlight this because the word "felt" is a very crucial part in this comment. The world felt more peaceful because it wasn't more peaceful. It only felt like it because these conflicts are getting a lot more airtime and are generally a lot more bigger as impact-wise. But ISIS was still very much going on. Syria was still very much going on. Iran was bombing Saudi places. So it wasn't more peaceful. It just felt like it. So I just wanted to say that.
Also, the drone strikes under Trump were, I think, second most under any president except
most.
Obama.
Most, I think even more than Obama.
More than Obama. He killed that Iraqi general.
Soleimani.
Soleimani, exactly, which also might have got the conflict rolling that we have today.
Yeah, moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is a tacit endorsement.
Exactly. Yeah,
Ukraine or the Crimea was still occupied. The war in Donbass was still raging. So, honestly, the audience can fight me on this, but it wasn't necessarily more peaceful. It just felt like.
And here, the Love Duck Europe was more peaceful. Crimea in Ukraine got invaded in 2014. That was under Obama, right?
Sure,
and then
but there were
2 years. And then 2 years later, it's not like Trump did anything against it either. So, in theory, Europe was already at war since 2014. So I don't know. I don't think it's from far, like a high level. Yes, you're right. There are more wars that are being reported on at the moment. But I don't feel safe. I definitely don't feel safer with Trump as the U.S. president than as a Biden, for example.
And also the biggest foreign policy mistake ever is stepping out of the nuclear deal with Iran. That is just giving Iran a free pass to create nuclear weapons, which, I mean, depending on which intelligence agency you subscribe to, they are basically there, having a nuclear weapon. So,
yeah. And I also want to mention here, Red Zepp is commenting also. I want to reply to that. So defense spending is there. EU is the second highest defense spender in the world, even more than China, but it's not too scattered. You make it sound as if the EU countries are not spending enough. Well, two replies to that. Some countries definitely are not spending enough. Italy is way below 2%. Spain is way below 2%. Portugal. So there's plenty of countries that are not spending enough. And to be honest, Red Zepp, sorry, one more comment.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'm going to rip in a bit more. Sorry, not rip in, but a bit more. Germany has only spent 2% this year, and the first time in like 2-3 decades. So there's a lot of catching up to do. But he is right. The spending is there, but the problem is we have a lot of catching up to do. And the second thing is it's dispersed, completely dispersed. We're not buying together. We all have our own planes, our own tanks, our own headquarters, or etc. And that is, we lose incredible economies of scale, which is one of the reasons. I mean, if we work together in Europe on anything, defense and foreign policy for me will be the number one. But sorry, Ellie, you wanted to say something.
No, was it? I think that was what the user was alluding to, is to that, like, we are, like, right now we are spending quite a lot, but the amount that we're spending is not being allocated efficiently. I think maybe that was more the argument that they were going for. But
you made it sound as EU spends not spending enough, but it's too scattered. Okay, yeah, you're right. So Jeff, sorry, Red Zepp, sorry, it's too scattered. He's right there. I think so too.
Okay. I just wanted to say that we had a nice graphic on our EU Made Simple Instagram account where it was like, it shows like from a few years ago to now the amount of defense spending to GDP. So you can see that, like, I would have to pull up the graphic again, but it was like, I think almost 4 or 5 are only below the 2% of GDP that we agreed upon with NATO, right? Politics for Fun says Instagram is very nice. I like it. Good data, and I agree.
Politics for Fun.
Phyllis says it as well. Right now, the average is exactly at 2%. Yeah. It's a good, but exactly like you said, it's a start. But I mean, we're just spending 2% for 1 year. You're not going to be fixing the massive structural deficits of all of these militaries. Right? You need multiple years of this at least.
Yeah, I mean, even building certain military structures takes like 5 years. I mean, aircraft carrier, I think the US take like 8 years or something.
Yeah,
like
that, but we're not going to be making aircraft carriers.
I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying that's how long it would take.
No, you're right. Yeah. In any case, I also wanted to look a little bit about we've been talking about the EU a lot, but I wanted to look a little bit about Trump's policies as well for the United States itself. And I just kind of wanted to get a feel about what you thought and what the audience thinks of that as well. Because
of what, Elliot? Sorry,
of Donald Trump's policies domestically as well. Because we've been talking about internationally, but I'm very curious about how it's going to go for the Americans as well. I mean, I know that there's a few American watchers, so maybe they might be interested. But I think the first thing that we already discussed was the 10 to 20% tariffs on all foreign goods from every single country. And I thought it was very, let's say, telling, or maybe not telling, interesting that Trump ran on this economy is bad and we're supposed to make the cost of eggs lower, or like the eggs of your groceries lower, and that we're now getting the 10 to 20% tariff, which is very famously very bad for inflation. I think, as many of you might know, is that putting tariffs on outside or like foreign countries, it sounds very nice in principle of letting other countries pay for the money or the goods that they're sending, but in the end, it's the American importer that is paying that tariff, making it so that the products that they're importing become more expensive within the United States. So
not only that, I mean, the consumer is the one.
The consumer
is the one that suffers, because So if a good comes, I mean, if I'm Texas and all of a sudden my BMW, because for example, if there's a 10% tariff on a BMW, what will BMW do? They'll just put that tariff onto the consumer. They'll be like, okay, so the car is 10% more expensive. So then the consumer would have to pay 10% more. That probably means that BMW will sell less cars, which probably means that the US companies will raise their prices, right? Because there's more demand. Because fewer, it just makes no sense if you ask me.
And that's why every economist hates these tariffs, because they're painful, and they're painful, but sometimes crucial. Especially, I mean, this is the same debate going on in the European Union when it comes to protecting your key infrastructure or key supply chains, especially when it comes to chips. I mean, the CHIPS Act was a very big thing in the United States under Joe Biden. I mean, according to Americans, very successful. To most foreign countries, they feel like it's a little bit unfair because it does promote a lot of American companies over the others. But you can make the argument for protecting vital resources for state interest, right? So that makes sense. It's going to be more expensive, yes, but at least when a China invades Taiwan, you know that your supply chain is going to be secure. So that is the counter side of that.
Tariffs. Strategic tariffs, I completely agree with you. But here, there's someone in the comments here, Jeff Morris, who says Trump's point is it hurts you way more than it hurts us. It's leverage. The thing is, for me, it hurts everyone, right? Yeah. Because American consumers will be hurt because of the example we just gave before. But how will the EU retaliate? They will do tariffs too.
As well.
They'll put tariffs up too. So, for example, then in that case, the US will not be able to export as much or as well as it used to before. It's just going to result in a trade war. And the really thing that really sucks about all of this, it's not the companies losing out, it's you and me, man.
It's just a general citizen who has to who wants to pay for consumer products or wants to anything that just to live off is going to be more expensive because of this. I mean, frankly, bullshit. Pardon my French. But yeah. And also, I saw a few comments. I don't mean literally only eggs, because I know a lot of eggs are made domestically in the United States, but as a manner of saying, like consumer products. Okay, just to clarify. Yeah. So I thought that deserved a little bit of attention. But there's honestly, I found a very good article by AP News, which even though it's very difficult in the United States to find a slightly impartial news agency, I think AP News comes pretty close. There are they put together a list of, let's say, Trump policies, and some of them are very funky, let's say. Some of them might be good.
You want to share something, or?
I wrote down a long list of what I could find of Trump's policies, or at least what he said during his campaign. I mean, it's always, the meme about politicians is they say whatever, and whatever gets done, we'll see. I mean, Trump does have both the House, Senate, Supreme Court.
Yes, this is a really good that you mention it. Let's show that to people.
Yep.
So, for example, this is the presidential race. Let me reset this. How do I reset it? Here we go. So, presidential race. So you meant the Senate, right? So the Senate also went in the Republicans' favor. 52 at the moment. Crazy.
Yeah.
The House you mentioned? Not yet.
It's still up for grabs. Okay.
Yeah. But geez, Elliot, this basically means that if they win the House for 2 years, I think the midterms are in 2 years. So the midterms is when they go and vote again for the House. The Republicans have complete control. All 3 layers of government if the House goes to the Republicans.
And don't forget the Supreme Court, because that's currently stacked 7-2.
Oh yeah, the Supreme Court. Yeah. 4-7, 4-3, right? Was it 5?
No, this is something that your European mind can't comprehend.
9. Wait, it's 9. I think. I think it's 9. Supreme Court is 9 judges. I think it's 9.
Yeah, I think it's 9. Jonas says 6-3.
6-3. Yeah.
Okay, but Trump can the president can replace 1, right, or 0.1. I believe.
No, if they die. So if one while Trump is in office, if someone dies, if one of the Supreme Court judges dies, he can replace them.
I see.
So
okay, that's the thing.
We should look at how old they are, because we can see
justices. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we should be accurate.
Justices.
Yeah. Aren't the Democrats very old? Wasn't that the meme? That the Democrats are very old and that they might die under Trump.
Oh, this conversation. Here we go. So Justice Thomas, is Thomas Republican?
75. Yeah,
they're not that old. They probably will survive, all of them.
Aya von Torngelo says Trump appointed 3 justices last time. 3 are 70 plus. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, and this is the thing. Like, it's really a Republican country at the moment, right?
It's Republican time.
Yeah.
Republican mandate everywhere, from the judiciary to every place of representatives. It's all Republican. So, I mean, if Trump wants to get something done, he can do it now. You know,
he definitely can. Well, he has made promises. So the 10% tariff on everything coming into the States, that was a campaign promise. The other campaign promise, he made loads actually, but he made the one about getting people to pay up for NATO, for example.
Sure, yeah, but I would call it a little less of a campaign. It's more like messaging towards
solving the Ukraine.
right?
You're right. Solving the Ukraine war within the first day. So let's see.
Yeah, and Gaza as well, both.
And Gaza as well. Okay, so that was another campaign promise.
We have generally anti-climate change. He called it a climate hoax, right? So it is getting rid of the support for electric vehicles. So he says it's fine if people buy electric vehicles, but no more subsidies, no more pushing towards, let's say, more climate neutral.
Surprises me, right? Because Elon Musk is like next to him.
I guess so. Yeah.
By the
way,
we haven't even talked about Musk yet, but very quickly, I think he was a better. This is me going out on a limb. I think he was a better vice president than Vance. Yeah, I think
Elon was a better vice president.
I think he did a better job than Vance. I really do.
Okay.
I really do. Because his following apparently. Okay, so I've read into this quite a lot. Apparently, Elon Musk has quite a good relationship with Joe Rogan. Do you know Joe Rogan?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, the big podcaster, right? And apparently, I mean, this is I don't know where I got this from, but apparently, Joe Rogan didn't initially want to have Trump on. Trump has asked many times to be on Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk used the connection with Joe Rogan to get Trump on the show, which I think was massive beneficial to him because it normalized his personality, and he was actually quite charming. Not charming, I think that's strong, but he was quite good in that show.
Oftentimes people use humanized, right, as the term of, oh, look at this guy, you can just sit down and have a talk with him. He's such a connected person. Trump is that is. But I mean, I guess supporting your story would be the talk with Elon, with Joe, and then after that, Joe Rogan endorsing Donald Trump, right?
Yeah, which exactly. How many views does that video have? Like 35 million, something like that.
Multiple millions. Just all I know.
Crazy.
Yeah. Jeff Morris says, "Lol, how dare we humanize humans?" I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but I'm just saying that was the effect of what the people were saying. Yeah, it humanized him, so that in Trump's benefit. So
maybe I used the wrong word. He is right. It made him. It made him just approachable. I think that's a better word. He was actually. I actually watched it, and I had to laugh a couple times. I thought he was quite funny. Which, yeah.
You thought it was funny?
I thought he was funny. I think have you seen his dance at the rallies? He's quite funny. He is quite funny.
You're very easily charmed, Lambertus.
Yeah, apparently.
When he said during that live stream that terrorist was his favorite word in the dictionary, I couldn't help but laugh as well. But not because I found it so funny. VGC Veton, thank you for your donation. He says, late for the stream, but greetings, Lambertus and Elliot. Greetings.
Elliot, to maybe quickly run down. So, biggest impacts from Trump on Europe. We talked about NATO. We talked about Ukraine. We talked about tariffs. We talked about populism in Europe that could be connected. We talked about the EU taking things in their own hand. Is there anything else you feel that Trump has an effect on Europe for, or even the chat? Is there anything else?
Yeah, maybe the chat.
Yeah. What Trump could mean for us Europeans?
I think we covered most important parts, really. But I guess for us it's mostly wait and see. What will happen. But Germany is falling apart right now. Scholz fired finance minister. We will speak of.
Did he? Did he fire him?
According to user Optic, OP says yes.
No way. Oh, really? Okay, this is massive news if that's the case, because I've been following that all day. German government falls. Has the German government fallen?
I don't know.
I mean, no. They're talking while we're speaking here. So if anyone in the chat knows more what's happening with the German government, let us know. But yeah, no, Elliot, just to inform you, it's not going well. Very other topic now with the German coalition. Very badly.
I did hear bad things. I did hear bad things. Let's see. There's some people responding in chat though. European integration. We spoke a little bit about that. How will he did?
Well, that's what he says.
Okay. According to Tagesschau, Scholz did fire Lindner.
Yeah, it collapses. Jesus. Oh my God! Okay,
news.
So
you heard it here first.
Breaking news, guys.
We are now a German stream.
We're probably going to lose all our viewers now because we're going to Germany. Here, massive news. German coalition government collapses. Chancellor Scholz fires Finance Minister Lindner.
When was this? This is like minutes ago.
Yeah, this is literally minutes ago. Oh my God, it's going to be a long night. I'm going to have to create a video.
And you were already tired from the US.
I'm so tired. I am so tired. But this is big news, and it's in the country I live in. So very quickly for the information for the. Should I quickly do an explainer? Is it worth it? What happened?
I mean, listen. I'm willing to go the entire night, but I don't think you have that much time. Feel free to explain if you want, but
okay. So obviously, I don't know what the final decision was, but the Ampel. So Germany has a coalition of 3 parties, right? The SPD, the FDP, and the Greens. And the FDP, Lindner, run by Lindner, is being very difficult the last couple of months, years even. Mainly because also there is something called do you know the Schuldenbremse, Elliot?
This is like the firewall? Oh, debt break. No, never mind.
Debt break. So Germany doesn't like debt. They hate debt. So
sure.
They have in their constitution they have like a debt break, so they can't like make more.
That was it.
Borrow more money. And the Greens and the SPD, they really want to borrow money to pay for their welfare programs for the SPD, and for the Greens they want to pay for their green programs, of course. And the FDP saying, well, in order to do that, you should basically cut costs elsewhere to use money there, not borrow. So that was one of the many reasons.
Yep.
And now they're deciding the budget for next year, the last couple of weeks, and the FDP is not willing to budge on this debt break and is being stubborn. And I think that was probably part of the reasons why the government fell tonight, which is crazy.
Crazy.
And does this mean the far right gets more power? Not necessarily. Multiple things could happen. There could be new elections in March. That's one option. Second option could be that they have a minority government until the official elections in September next year. Option 3 and 4, no idea. So I need to research into it. But those are 2 options.
Crazy. Okay. Anyways, when you went off on your German tangent, I mean,
honestly, sorry, I went around. Did we lose all our viewers? We lost all.
No, we didn't. We didn't. Actually, there was quite a bit of interest in the chat. So
okay.
It wasn't for naught. But we have another super chat by God, it's a Greek name. I'm pretty sure. So Nicholas. I'm just gonna say it looks like Nicholas to me. Donated SEK. That's Swedish crowns, right? 50 Swedish crowns. So thank you very much for that. And they say Europe needs to stand on its own. We can no longer rely on other countries outside the EU to come to our aid. Has the EU been too naive? And we definitely covered this. And I think our general conclusion is that, yes, perhaps we've been a bit too naive. But
super naive.
I'd say maybe a little understandable reasons. Okay, it was this naivete didn't come out of nowhere. I think would be at least my conclusion. Anyways,
yeah, we've been super naive. I mean, like you said, we talked about it already, and we need to really grow up. And especially, in my opinion, I mentioned before in defense, I think it's really important. The chat also mentioned economy. I also think we need to work together on being a bit more competitive. The Draghi report is the key word here. Yeah.
So, okay, not to make this all about us Europeans again, because it is kind of a US live stream, but
we're talking about
we're talking about US. Don't forget. I was wondering. Okay, in an ideal world, this would mean the European Union suddenly wakes up. Everyone's like, "Okay, guys, we got to sit together. We got to think about this." The system that we have right now, it's not really working that well in our favor. Countries are we're being surpassed left and right. We are losing our economic place in the world. We have to do something, right? I am a little bit afraid that even though we, as I think more pro-European inclined people, we are thinking like this. But when we're looking at the general election results throughout Europe, that the people who are voting more right or more far right, or I guess generally anti-European parties, they are probably not feeling like this at all, in the sense that we have to work more closer together with European like more European integration. I don't think they feel like this at all.
No.
So maybe this is a wishful thinking on our part of saying we have to work more together. Yes, but are the people that live in Europe going to agree with that as well? I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, the European elections showed us that that's not really the case, right? There's a lot more nationalism. People want sovereignty in their own member states. There are some parties that are driving the federalist idea forward, but they're not exactly booming, are they?
No,
so,
they're not. Yeah. Someone asked, sorry, the Burning Swan, another super chat came in, so I'll get to your question in a second. Harris Asman donated $5 and thank you very much for your super chat. That is very kind. They ask, EU continued to trade with Russia after it annexed Crimea and destabilized Georgia and the Donbass.
Yeah, I agree with him.
EU continued to trade with Russia after. Oh yeah, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, we could.
Worse, they built a second pipeline. Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, Elliot. Go ahead.
No. That's fine. No, yeah, they did build it. Never used though. But that's only a small side note. It was, your German expression "Wandel durch Handel." Didn't really end up working out that well.
That was Angela Merkel, right? Angela Merkel.
It was.
It was a very, very naive in all of Europe that. Basically, they annexed Crimea. Sorry, I'm going to emphasize that again. Harris is completely right. And what did we do? Oh, yeah, let's build another pipeline. Let's continue taking cheap Russian gas. It was very, very silly. And what about the second part? And destabilize Georgia and the Donbass because of us trading with Russia, I guess. Yeah.
Partly, yeah. So Georgia, or I think the general argument was that Russia has been destabilizing in our region generally, and we just kept continuing to trade with them, which is in generally correct. That is a painful, true fact.
And actually, I have to give Trump credit for that because he said it. I think at the NATO summit in 2018, or okay, I might be completely wrong, but he definitely said it.
Say it. Yeah, he said it somewhere.
That Nord Stream pipeline 2, you're growing dependent Germany. He said it. And
yeah, true.
He was right.
But he definitely wasn't the only one saying it. I mean, we don't have to go that far away from home to say or to see which countries were telling Germany that this is a bad idea. I mean, the entire eastern flank of Europe was screaming at Germany that this is a bad idea. And
this is what I think is a crazy thing, right? Sorry, I'm going off it. Like, you're completely right. So, dependent on Russia. Oh shit, that was a mistake. We're gonna have to like do other things, like get our energy elsewhere. What do?
Yeah.
Oh, let's close down our nuclear power plants. That's the second thing they did. Oh no, the energy prices are going up, and they opened a coal plant in order to try and get the energy prices down again. Yeah. And now they're in economic trouble because obviously the energy prices are too high. It's like, guys, where was the thinking in this? Which is one of the reasons I think why the coalition is fallen, because these decisions don't make sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm okay with it as long as we end up not getting a more pro-Russia accepting government, because then we'll have the same old thing all over again, but just a bit more towards the other side. I wanted to answer a question from user The Burning Swan, because they asked, did they talk about the House of Representatives and predictions yet? Because we've been totally recentering the conversation on the European Union, as is logical, obviously. But we could. I mean, honestly, I know a little bit less about the House of Representatives and the current predictions for that. So maybe you know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so that's based on counties, right? So, for example, the Senate. So the president's obvious. I mean, we talked about that. The Senate is each state gets 2 senators.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's 100 senators, and that's like the upper house. Yeah. And then the lower house is the House of Representatives. I mean, that's what you meant, right? So then there's all of these different counties throughout the states, if I'm not mistaken, and they get a representative each, and they sit in the lower house. In terms of the results, I have no idea where it's going to go. It looks, I mean, as someone in the chat mentioned, it looks likely to go to the GOP, which is the Republicans, which wouldn't surprise me because there's a massive red wave. And that gives, like we mentioned earlier, all three layers, all levels of government would go to the Republicans.
Yeah. But before I let you go on a German rant again, because I see people saying in chat, "Have you seen German news or go to Scholz's speech?"
No, I need to see German news. We're gonna have to quit. Okay. We're gonna have to quit soon, Elliot, because I really want to watch the German coalition collapse.
There was watch it burn. Oh, actually, never mind. You know what? I'm going to let the comment go because it's fine.
If there's any. Maybe like last couple minutes, if there's any questions, I mean, feel free to give us a super chat if you enjoyed the stream or become a Patreon. We really, really do appreciate it. And maybe one last question. So ask your questions quickly now, and we can cover one more question. Right, Elliot? Or what do you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we recently revamped our Patreon as well. So we try to give our patrons a little bit more say in where the channel is going. So if you are interested in proposing any ideas or voting on video ideas, that then you definitely should check out our Patreon subscription or a YouTube membership. In any case, we're all very thankful for you watching anyways, because otherwise we will be just talking to ourselves here, which would be a little bit weird. People are calling for a Germany stream now.
Yeah.
You see the interest of US politics is dwindling by the minute.
Yeah. Oh, look, here it is. The statement will come soon from the German.
Wait. I'm not sure if they can hear this. Can people
hear this? Can you hear this or not?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think they can hear it.
No, they can't.
No audio,
unlucky, but I mean, how many people speak German as well? At the same time.
I mean, I speak German. We could definitely
translate it.
Translate it.
BTC Beaton, thank you again for another super chat. Are you excited for the future content? Can get spicy. I mean, in any case, Donald Trump will provide some excellent coverage for EU Made Simple if anything were to happen with the EU. So I guess we could be thankful for that. Enough to talk about.
100%.
Okay. 100%. You want to close it off because I feel like you're.
No. I love. I'm really enjoying the stream, but I think this probably warrants a video. So I'm going to have to work on this. And I hope that people in the chat would want to see a video on this too. Let me know if you do, because then I will. And any last comments, Elliot, before you quit?
I don't think so. I maybe for the people that are a bit disappointed in the Trump election, try to stay a little positive. If you're not American, it's going to affect us one way or another. But at least we're not living in the United States. If you're disappointed,
you're not a Trump fan, are you, Elliot? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm a little. Let's say I don't agree with some of his policies. Right. No. Okay. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's a big secret that I wouldn't vote Trump. Let's put it that way. But in general, just it's an election result. Things are going to change, but the world isn't going to end. Okay, it's not going to be World War III tomorrow. So keep on breathing. And we'll see tomorrow. Basically, is the message. Keep on breathing. Thank you. That's all. That was my speech. Vote Elliot 2020. Thank you. 2024. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us.
Yep. All right. Then, if that's all, thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.